Hey everyone, welcome. This is Jason Clemmons, Doctor of Chiropractic at the Rock Health and Wellness Center. This is Life with Jason Clemmons, DC. We are live on this Friday, February 21st, right here from the Rock Health and Wellness Center studios in Lubbock, Texas. And we're on the radio at 98.7 Walk by Faith and 1420 AM and streaming on 987radio.com. We're on all of our social media and we are ready to go tonight. Hope everybody had a great week. It's been really the office has been great. The adjustments have been great. The wellness world has been great. The sick care world is in a little bit of chaos this week, and we've been trying to talk about it to try to help you guys out. You know, not you guys, but all those people out there in the sick care world. We've been trying to help them out a little bit, and we're going to continue tonight try to help out people. And I started off with a great. There's a great article I just saw right here with Texas Tech. You run this thing and it's like all of a sudden there's a cancer treatment. I got to figure out where I saw it. Just a second. You close down your Facebook for just 1 second, and then all of a sudden it's like it's gone. And so it's like, man, where did that go? But the Texas Tech Health Science Center guys were doing a study, groundbreaking. There it is, right there. Okay, UMC Texas Tech University Health Science Center announces groundbreaking finding to shrink tumors, prolong survival in kidneys. Prolonged survival in kidney cancer patients. UMC, Texas Tech Health Science Center, announces groundbreaking findings to shrink tumors, prolong survival in kidney cancer patients. A groundbreaking study findings show that a treatment can shrink tumors. Thomas E. Hudson, DO, PharmD, PhD, Chief of Hematology Oncology Division in the Department of Internal Medicine at Texas Tech University Health Science Center and Director of the University Medical Center Cancer Center, shared the findings from a landmark CLEAR clinical trial comparing lenvatinib, comparing some drugs in renal cell carcinoma study. Dr. Hudson said the treatment uses these two drugs in combination, which showed promising and positive findings. So first of all, thanks, Doc. Thanks for all you guys over at Texas Tech Health Science Center who are working on that stuff. Thanks for giving us all this information and for working on kidney cancer. Okay. Here's the quote. We were able to correlate those benefits with the amount of tumor shrinkage or the volume of cancer the patient ultimately has. A patient may start off with 100% of the volume of cancer, and as we decrease that down to 50% of the cancer volume, and they started with to 25% of the cancer volume, that correlates almost perfectly with response rates the patient can have, prolongation and survival the patient have. Yeah, that didn't make a whole lot of sense, but basically we're saying, hey, they can help people with cancer, right? So what do? I look at this from a wellness standpoint, not from a sick care. If you're already going to get it and you go over there and you got to have cancer, then you better get over there with the cancer doctors and let them treat it. But let's break it down right here. It says the regimen of Keytruda and Lenvima, Keytruda, and Lenvima is really one of our most powerful treatment regimens. 95% of patients who get this therapy can expect to have disease control. 70% of these patients can expect to have greater than 30% tumor shrinkage. So, all right, so what am I going to do? I'm going to look at that. I'm going to say, what is the mechanism of action of this particular thing? I'm going to go over there and I'm going to say, all right, Keytruda and Lenvima. Do I understand what that means? No, not at all. You know, most of those words, the reason that all of our drugs that are on the market are so crazy is because the pharmaceutical companies go in there and they patent or they get a copyright to all the logical things. They go through the list and get all these logical names. That's why you got to have all these crazy names for all these drugs. It's because you got to just make some word up like Keytruda, because you don't even have a there's no way you could just say kidney cancer drug or whatever. So, but I went and looked it up, and you're not going to believe this. And I just went to I went to Google Scholar, and simple stuff. Just go to Google Scholar and then just ask it, hey, what's the mechanism of action of this drug? And the lenvatinib, a molecule with versatile application from preclinical evidence to future development of anti-cancer treatment. It is an emerging multi-kinase inhibitor with a preferential anti-angiogenic activity. Okay, blah, 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 whatever that means. And then comes down here, it says, has shown efficacy in the treatment of renal cell carcinoma, differentiated thyroid cancer, and hepatocellular carcinoma. So liver cancer, thyroid cancer, inhibits vascular endothelial growth factor receptor family VEGFR1-3. What does that mean? I don't know. I don't know what that means. So what am I going to do? I'm going to look it up right quick. I'm just going to go to Google Scholar. I'm going to say, what is VEGFR1-3? If this drug works because it inhibits that, meaning the drug stops this from happening, right? Okay, well, let's go over and just look and see what it says. Well, okay, here it is. Vascular endothelial, I'll share it with you. Vascular endothelial growth factor receptor 1-3, a dual regulator for angiogenesis. And then it goes through here and it tells you what it's going on with it. It's a member of this family and does that. And it comes down here to the bottom and it says VEGFR-1 plays a negative role in angiogenesis and embryogenesis. In adults, however, VEGFR-1 is expressed not only on endothelial cells, but also on macrophages and promotes, listen to this now, this VEGFR-1 promotes the function of macrophages, inflammatory diseases, cancer metastasis, and atherosclerosis via its kinase activity. Okay, we have inside our body this VEGFR-1, which promotes the function of macrophages. What did we talk about last night? What is the problem with cancer? It's overactivity of the immune system. It's this overactivity of the immune system. How do we keep the immune system down? What are we going to do? This is groundbreaking stuff, and I appreciate the guys over at Texas Tech for doing the groundbreaking stuff. I mean, I'm first of all, I'm proud of them because they're Red Raiders, and second of all, I'm proud of them because they're working on to trying to help people save their lives. I'm not by any means throwing stones at them, but look what it does. This thing promotes macrophages. It promotes the function of macrophages in inflammatory diseases, cancer, metastasis. That's what it does. So what do they do to stop cancer in kidneys and shrink tumors? They decrease macrophage. They inhibit. Let's go back. What does this thing do? Right? It inhibits VEGFR-1-3. It turns it off. The drug turns off the VEGFR receptor. It turns it off. And what does that receptor do? It promotes macrophages and inflammatory disease. And you see it? You guys see that? Can you see what I'm trying to say right there? What I'm trying to say is inflammation and overactivity of your immune system is what causes your cancer problem. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It's it's like there may be other factors that cause your cancer, but if you don't want to have cancer, control your immune system. And it was so awesome because I was just sitting there looking at my phone. Earlier today, I went and got a massage, an awesome massage, by the way. Um, Lorianne Braden, she's great. You guys want her number? I'll give it to you. Just send me a text or a message, and we'll get you hooked up with that. But because she does a great job. And then I was just trying to see what was going on in my community, and I see this article, and I say, hey, that's great. What's the mechanism of action of this thing? Oh, it stops the thing that promotes macrophages and inflammatory disease. What else does that? What else stops inflammatory disease, and what else stops increased immune response? Remember, that's what I said yesterday. That's what I got last weekend. That revelation knowledge that it finally took me 25 years to get. The revelation knowledge that I got last week was if you can keep your immune system calm and keep it calm, then it won't overattack you. And cancer is one of the things that it overtaxes. And remember what we said last night? We're talking about retroviruses. We're talking about HIV/AIDS. We're talking about the HTML, or I can't remember that one. And then XMRV. And they say XMRV is related to prostate cancer. So we want to keep those things low, right? So if you didn't see last night's show, go back and watch it. It was great. I think we really made some difference last night. So if you missed it, go back and watch it. But tonight, let's take it. Let's get away from all of this stuff because we got the New York Times apparently coming to Lubbock to talk about measles. We got Sanjay Gupta doing interviews to talk about measles. We got all these people that are just freaking out over that, about the whole measles thing, right? I'm not going to get into the measles thing, but what I will share for all you parents out there, that if you're interested in it, here's a supplement that we sell in the office. It's called VeraKid. It's from our orthomolecular products that we have, and VeraKid right there, and I'll show you what the ingredients is on it. VeraKid is a children's chewable formula that boosts immune function and provides support for immune challenges. Elderberry has been shown to provide effective, immediate immune support, and the distinct purple color creates a fun element for kids. Whatever. But the big thing right here is we've got vitamin A, right? We've got vitamin A, we got vitamin C, we got zinc, and then we got elderberry, and then astragalus. And all those right there, and these guys do a great job. Our body's immune system is a complex and dynamic defense system that comes to our rescue at the first sign of exposure to an outside invader. The dynamic nature of the immune system means that all factors that affect health and need to be addressed for it to function at peak performance. In most cases, the immune system does a great job, but it is very sensitive to nutrient deficiencies. Your immune system is very sensitive to nutrient deficiencies. That's the thing about the measles. It's the malnutrition kids that have the problem. It's not the healthy kids that have the problem. You still get the measles, but what can we do? What can we do to keep our immune systems up, and what can we do to keep our inflammation down? That's what I want to talk about. I want to get to tonight. I want to talk about both of those things. So in 2009, when we really started doing nutrition stuff and getting into it pretty heavy, I found this, and you guys could go find it yourselves. And I just Googled it. It's called the Page Fundamental Food Plan. And we started using it. In 2009 because Dr. Page knew more about it in 2009 than I did, and he still may know more about it than I do. But this diet plan is designed to assist your body in its ability to create and maintain balanced blood chemistry. And that's, remember, we really know that. We know that we're going to balance insulin. And when you balance insulin, you balance a whole lot of other things downstream, like glucagon. And so I'm not going to get into all the things. That's the top one. Balance our insulin, control our 6:3 ratio. Keep our immune system down, Remember that from yesterday? Immune response. No. COVID notes. Can't remember where it is, but what it says is DHA inhibits interleukin 1 beta. DHA. That's the part of what you get when you have your fish oil, right? So EPA and DHA. DHA inhibits your inflammation, your interleukin 1 beta, which is one of the parts of that immune system. So that's what we're doing, and that's what Dr. Page is doing. He's balancing blood chemistry. And this is Dr. Melvin Page. Phase 1 and Phase 2 diet is not only extremely helpful, but in many cases essential to control blood sugar imbalances as well as other types of imbalances of blood chemistry. At the famous Page Clinic, blood chemistry panels were done every 3 to 4 days on patients. Now that's very important because he did the work. Dr. Page did the work. And I don't even know the year. To be quite honest with you, I don't know the year that he did the work, but he's been around for a while. But he was doing this stuff every 3 to 4 days. I also want you to think about what that means. If you start changing your diet today and you start doing anti-inflammatory diet things today, in 3 or 4 days, your blood chemistry is going to change. It is not a 90-day process. Different parts of it will last 90 days, but you could start doing it now, and in 3 or 4 days, we could check your blood and things would change. And in 3 or 4 days, we check your blood and things would change. And why is that? The reason that is because when you put the body in an environment that's congruent with health, the body will express health, and it wants to do that. That's innate intelligence. That's that 99.5% that we don't control, that's inside our body, that's saying, hey, listen, just put me in the right environment and I will start to express health. Just quit attacking me with all of these foreign substances that's creating an immune response. Quit attacking me with all of this toxic food that's not supposed to be in my body so that I can start to express myself properly. Why would I need a drug? Think about it. If I have this receptor in my body, the vascular endothelial growth factor receptor 1, this is a member of the VEGFR family and binds VEGF-A, PIGF, and VEGF-B. Whatever that means, I don't know, but it's a receptor. Why would I have a receptor? Is it important for me to have this receptor? Did God create me and somehow screw up when he gave me one of these VEGFR receptors? No, he didn't. He didn't, because there is a time and a place for this receptor to express itself, to do what it's supposed to do, to increase macrophage activity. We want this receptor to turn on my immune system in environments that is appropriate for it to turn on my immune system. But we don't want it to turn on my immune system in environments that are inappropriate. And we all know that if you eat a bunch of sugar this weekend, your fingers are going to be stiff on Monday. We know that. Eat some cake and ice cream, and then and just tell me if eat some corn chips, eat some chips and salsa, eat a big old peanut butter and jelly sandwich, eat you a birthday cake and some ice cream, and tell me if your muscles and your hands don't start swelling up on Monday. Yes, and then you get inflammation, and you'll say something like, my arthritis flared up, right? What does that mean when you start studying in a deep way? What it means is that you've put yourself in an environment that's incongruent with health, and you're causing this overactive immune system to take place, which is causing all kinds of crazy damage inside the body. So what do? We just calm it down. We calm it down by following things like Dr. Page diet. And it's based on a diet plan on the research of Western A. Price and Pottinger, Dr. Pottinger, who showed the relationship of diet to health, both physical and emotional. Yes, physical and emotional, physical, chemical, and mental emotional stress. What is that cause from? That's the cause of subluxation, which is so funny because we've been talking about viruses all week and immune system all week, and we haven't said a word about the nervous system all week. And the nervous system is what runs the immune system. If you don't believe that, go look at a picture of Christopher Reeve. That's the truth. That's why diabetic people get ulcers on their feet that don't ever heal. Why did they get ulcers on their feet that don't ever heal? Because their brain doesn't know they have an ulcer on their foot because the neuropathy in their feet has been so bad that the neuropathy, right? The pathology of nerves in the foot is not working right, and it's not communicating to the brain, so the brain's not working on the immune system. Yeah. And so what we're talking about, what he's saying here is showed the relationship of diet and health to both physical and emotional. It's both of those things together. Have you been depressed this winter? Have you been irritable this winter? Have you had the flu this winter? Yeah. Why? Maybe we're in an environment that's incongruent with health. If we just teach those kids, if we had all those kids with their immune systems down, the chances that they would have any problem with that measles would be way low. You haven't heard anybody talk about that except for the wellness people, right? But the wellness people, I tell you, are not going to be quiet anymore, because we were quiet during COVID and we had to put up with all that crap, and those days are long gone. So let's talk about this some more. So foods to eat and not to eat. Proteins. Eat small amount of proteins frequently. It is best if you have some protein at each meal. It needs not be a large amount at any one time. In fact, it is best if you stick to smaller amounts, less than 2 to 4 ounces of meat, fish, fowl, or eggs at a time. Both animals and vegetarian sources of protein are beneficial. And Dr. Guest, in his book, Extreme Health, he's a big fan of the vegetarian diet. He's a big fan of a plant-based diet. Eat lots of fresh vegetables and fruits. Be sure the majority of it's raw. Who's Dr. Guest? Dr. Guest was my nutrition teacher in school, and he is a diplomate in nutrition. So that's who Dr. Guest is. Let me bring this down for you, and this is what we're talking about right here. When he's talking about eating proteins. But choose a variety of meat products and try to find the healthiest options available, free range and organic whenever possible. And I really think that's a big deal. When you eat your protein, eat a grass-fed and grass-finished animal, because otherwise that animal is going to be fed corn, and then now you're going to get an increased amount of arachidonic acid, and you're going to increase your inflammation. We're going to try to find every way that we can possibly decrease our inflammation. That's what we're going to start working on. We're going to talk about it tonight on the second half of the show. If I could get to it, we're going to talk about how sleep and inflammation are related, and the sleep in the immune system is related. We're going to talk about how exercise in the immune system and inflammation is related, right? We're going to talk about how Alzheimer's disease and inflammation is related. You see how you guys know by now, I'm really not that sophisticated. I'm very educated, but I'm not all that smart. But in 2009, I figured out if we could protect the mitochondria, we would have a chance to stay healthy. If we would protect the mitochondria. And how do you protect the mitochondria? You keep your omega-6-3 ratio balanced, which in turn keeps your inflammation balanced. which in turn keeps you decreased opportunity of having cancer or any of those other things. And it also keeps you from having Alzheimer's disease, and it keeps your immune system functioning the way that it's supposed to. And it goes all the way back to trying to protect your mitochondria, because it's the power plant of the cell. And that's what I love about wellness. It will not let you down. Wellness will not let you down. You can, if you just can understand it, and if you get enough information, that you'll understand it. Eggs, for the most people, are an excellent and high quality source of protein. Eat the whole egg. The lecithin in the yolk is essential to lower blood fat and improve liver and brain function. Avoid frying. Grilled, broiled, steamed, soft-boiled, or poached is best. We don't hardly ever fry anything. Well, if we do, it's in olive oil. Maybe or butter. We'll put some butter in a pan, put it in there, and just fry it up. We haven't cooked with vegetable oil. I can't tell you. The only reason we have vegetable oil in my house right now is because at Thanksgiving time, everybody likes to eat all the crap that goes along with Thanksgiving. And so we have a bottle of vegetable corn oil or whatever in our pantry that's just there for Thanksgiving and Christmas, when everybody eats a bunch of crap and gets inflamed and sick. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back. Stick with us. We'll be right back right after these messages. When you study this and you keep going and you stay after it long enough, you really start to see all of the things that we do that make us sick. Like it really is. It's really amazing how many things we do that make us sick. I was thinking about it today. I was thinking about, like, how do we keep our inflammation down? What's one thing, if you were listening to the show, what's one thing that we could do to keep our inflammation down? One of the things we could do is stop drinking sodas. We could just say, we're not going to drink anything that contains high fructose corn syrup in it. We're going to get away from high fructose corn syrup. Like, we're not going to go to the store and buy a 6-pack of Coke or Dr. Pepper or any of those things. We're completely not buying sodas anymore. And a lot of you, I think, have. A lot of you already have done that, right? But just think about how much of an advantage you give yourself just by that one single thing. Like, it's just not part of your life anymore. And if you're a Coke drinker, if with high fructose corn syrup, and don't confuse yourself, because when you go diet, now you got aspartame or sucralose, and both of those things are toxic to the brain or the thymus. So we don't want to go that direction either. But if you just took that one thing out, and if you could figure out how to drink your coffee or your tea or your water or whatever you're going to drink, if you can eat find a sweetener like stevia if you have to have it sweet, and that just eliminates that one thing that you don't have to have inflammation on anymore. If you can get sugar out of your diet, that'd be great. And I promise you can. If you just try it, you can do it. We got another 10 days, and I've gone 3 years. So we're almost there. You can do it. If you just decide not to do it. And then it's like, wow, I'm not having any sugar, and I'm not drinking Cokes. It's like, you're controlling your inflammation so much better. You're decreasing your chances of having cancer. You're increasing your proper immune response. It's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. Hang on, I got to get us back on. Okay, everybody, we're back. This is Life with Jason Clemmons, DC, and we're talking about foods that we should eat to keep our inflammation down. All right, things we could do to make ourselves healthy And then, of course, eat more vegetables. Eat more, more, more. While almost everybody can eat more vegetables, it is especially important for us. Eat a variety of vegetables as outlined in the chart that you're going to receive. This includes spinach, chard, beet greens, kale, broccoli, mustard greens, etc. Yesterday I was talking about The Case for Interferon, the book I read that was written by Dr. Clemmons up in Amarillo. And he did a study with interferon treating AIDS patients in Africa and got really good results. And then he repeated that study in a couple of different countries, and he got good results, but not as good as he got in Africa. So he called the guy in Africa, and he said, I don't understand. Like, we got really great results in Africa, but we didn't get quite as good a results in these other places. And one thing that he discovered is that those guys the people that were in the study in Africa were eating kale all the time. Now, I know it's hard to eat kale if you kale, you got to be fired up to eat kale, right? But if you have AIDS, you will do anything. But that's just part of their normal diet. So that was one thing right there. Kale, broccoli, mustard greens. And it says here, sorry, chocolate is not a vegetable. That's not in Dr. I don't think that's in Doc's original one. The quality of your produce, fresh and organic preferred, and the method of preparation is important. Raw is preferred with lightly steamed or sauteed as your second choice for all your vegetables. Get your children to have vegetables with a dip if necessary. Now that's on this. That's not what Dr. I copied this off of I just Googled it and it showed up on a website, but it looks like to me like they've put in a couple of extra things. Dr. Page did not say that to get your kids. See, that's the kind of stuff that gets us in trouble right off the bat. Here's what happens with our kids. We give our kids sugar, and then we ask them to eat vegetables, and they don't want to eat vegetables. But if they didn't eat sugar first, they wouldn't ever care about the vegetables. They would eat vegetables just naturally. And that's the problem. And so then what we do is we try to bribe them. And hey, if you eat your vegetables, then you can have your ice cream. Hey, if you do what you're supposed to do, then I'll bribe you with something else. That line right there is entangling our children and making them sick. They're the one. That's what's making the New York Times come down here to West Texas, because instead of all of these healthy kids running around here that just take the measles and just crush it, we've got enough kids that a few of them go to the hospital, and there's a chance that some of them could be really sick. And it's like, wait a minute, if we were really serious about it, we'd keep our kids healthy, right? So I don't buy that, making them have a dip. Like, yes, you can put there's ways that you can prepare that stuff and make it good right there, right? Butter and olive oil, that's why you can cook those salads. Fruits, it says, in addition to the advantage of chewing your food, there's an even more important reason not to drink fruit juice. Fruit juice is loaded with simple sugar, fructose, which is shunted into the forming triglycerides and ultimately stored as fat. See, that's what we just showed last night. That's the metabolism of fructose. So we don't want to drink juices at all. We want to eat a fruit if we need some fruit, but we don't want to drink juices. That's not a good idea. It's not apple juice, orange juice, cranberry juice. The only juice that I've ever kind of bent on the idea of is pomegranate juice. A very small, like a shot glass of pomegranate juice actually increases glutathione, and glutathione protects mitochondria. And so that maybe, but I think there's other ways to improve glutathione to stay away from the juices right there. And plus you lose all the fiber in there as well. Carbohydrates, it's very tricky. Most people classify carbohydrates as either complex or simple. And unfortunately, for most patients suffering with imbalance problems, almost any carbohydrate is a no-no. Let me see if that is off of the original page diet. Yeah. So that's if you're really sick. If you're really sick, you got to watch out for that sort of thing. It is a physiological fact that the more carbohydrate you eat, the more you will want. And that's in the brain. I had a patient this week tell me that the part of the reason she's taken semaglutide is, and one of the things that it's done, Ozempic or Wegovy or whatever it is because it's quieting the noise of food in her brain during the day. She just doesn't think about the food. Well, I can promise you that when this morning I had 3 scrambled eggs and 3 pieces of sausage and a handful of pistachios and some raspberries, I didn't think about food either. And why is that? Because there wasn't very many carbohydrates in that meal. And that was after I did a 20-minute AMRAP in the gym and laid out on the floor after it was over. But so I worked out this morning, then I went home, took a shower, Leslie made breakfast, and that's what I had. And if you eat protein in the morning, instead of eating carbohydrates in the morning, it won't make you want to eat more carbohydrates throughout the day. And that's what Dr. Page is saying here as well. Craving carbohydrates is a symptom of an imbalance, so you can use this craving to monitor your progress. That's what he's saying. Use the craving to monitor your progress. Once you break free of the sugar, then and the simple carbs, man, when I was eating cinnamon rolls for breakfast or Pop-Tarts, man, I was wanting more of that. I was wanting some more at lunch. I was wanting a Reese's cup in the middle of the afternoon. I was wanting, as soon as I got home, I couldn't wait to go in there and find some chocolate in the kitchen. And then I'd eat supper. And then after supper, before I go to bed, I'd want some more sugar. Now it's completely opposite of that. That just doesn't happen anymore. And so overall, eat vegetables as your carbohydrate choice and limit grains. Even the whole grains can be trouble. When you do eat whole grains, only have them in moderation and only at dinner. If you start a day with carbohydrates, you are more likely to crave them throughout the day. Yeah. Wheat and grains. There's been tremendous amount of debate regarding wheat and grains. Whole unprocessed grains can be rich sources of vitamins and minerals, but with soil depletion and the special strains of grains that modern agriculture has developed, it isn't clear what nutrients remain. When scholars study disease patterns and the decline of various civilizations, many degenerative diseases developed when cultivation of grains became part of the culture. Allergic reactions, chemicals naturally found in certain grains, lack of appropriate enzymes, and the carbohydrate content of grains make them a source of trouble for many individuals. Now, let me stop right there for a second. So, one of the hardest things to do whenever you're trying to work on nutrition is you've got very competent people that give you completely opposite pieces of information. Because I could go in there and I could get Dr. Esselstyn's stuff of Forks Over Knives, and it'll say the exact opposite. And even wherever Dr. Guest stuff, like he's like the whole grain stuff, the plant-based stuff is good. I really think that the grains have to be ancient grains if they're going to be eaten to be proper. And I really think that if you're really trying to control your inflammation, you may be better off of just easing up on those. With the gluten and all the rest of this stuff, I just don't think it's necessary. So, and then we get down into sweeteners. Use only a small amount of raw Tupelo honey or stevia as a sweetener. Absolutely no NutraSweet corn syrup or table sugar. Although Dr. Page did not allow raw cane sugar, it does provide nutrients to aid in its metabolism. If you cheat, be smart and use only small amounts with a meal. And then fats. The bad news is you probably don't get enough of the right fats in your diet. So please use olive oil, cold pressed extra virgin, walnut oil, flaxseed, and grapeseed. I don't know about that. These are all actually beneficial as long as they are cold pressed. When cooking, use only raw butter and olive oil. Also, avoid peanut butter. See, I didn't make that up. Avoid all hydrogenated and partially hydrogenated fats. They are poison to your system. Never eat margarine again. Also, avoid peanut butter. Eat all the avocados and raw nuts you desire. This comes from Dr. Page. Okay, so let's talk about let's get into what are the things, and you guys can do it if you want this. If you want to find this, just Google the Page Fundamental Diet Plan, and it's right there. I'm showing it to you right off of the right off the internet. So, and if you guys are on the radio and you want to find it, then you can go find it there. So, I mean, here's all your stuff: vegetables, 3% or less carbs, 6% or less carbs, 7 to 9 carbs. Miscellaneous, like it just goes through the list right there. Asparagus, bamboo shoots, bean sprouts, beet greens, bok choy greens, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, celery, collard greens, cucumbers. It's all the stuff is on there. So each of your meals must include some protein. The easiest sources are meat, fish, poultry, or eggs. Vegetarians must combine proteins carefully and consistently using different calculations. It's an easy way to calculate the amount of protein you need is to divide your ideal body weight by 15 to get the number of ounces of protein to be consumed per day. This is not a high protein diet. Like many people, you already eat this much protein during the day, but you eat it mostly in 1 or 2 meals instead of spreading it out evenly over 5 meals. If you are more physically active, eat more protein. So, a 150-pound person, 10 ounces a day, or 2 to 2.25 ounces of protein at each meal. So you don't have to eat a lot of protein according to the Page diet. Now, I don't know if he did the work on a high protein diet. I don't know if he did the blood work on that or not. I'm just sharing with you what the Page diet says. Lean meat, fish, fowl, eggs, vegetables, and in the phase 2, no limit on serving size of vegetables. Use grass-fed, free-range, or organic when possible, and that's the Page diet. So that's the whole thing right there, and you can look it up. And from that, in our office, we have an entire nutritional plan, and so what is cool about the nutritional plan in our office is that the first thing on the list for us, the very first thing on the list for us, and I don't think you can see this very well, but I'll just tell you, is brain exercises. That's the first. When people come to our office and they want to talk about nutrition, you know what I do? I take a cervical X-ray with the nutrition program. Before we get into, you'll do the symptom survey from Standard Process and toxicity from Standard Process. We'll do an omega-6-3 test, a finger prick test to get your 6-3 ratio. Then we do the heart sound recorder and the heart rate variability. We'll do an in-body scan, and we do a history with you and all that stuff. But we also do a lateral cervical X-ray because I know that the neurological input from the nervous system into the nervous system from the cervical spine is going to determine to a certain extent what kind of food you're going to eat. Because if you're lacking input into the brain's not working properly, you're not getting the right to left side stimulation, so you're getting the low left hemisphere dopamine, and you're going to want to go eat sugar. So the very first thing on the Rock Health and Wellness Center nutritional plan is brain exercises. And the very first thing on the brain exercise list is to be social. This is the best thing you can do for your brain and therefore your health. Number 2, we do the overhead touches, the pursuits, the side steps, and walking 30 minutes a day if you can, and get your eyes up and move them back and forth. You guys have heard this a lot, right? But did you hear it in relationship to your immune system? Did you hear it in relationship to the inflammation? Maybe not. But maybe now you start to see. You start to see where I have patients in the office that come in and get adjusted, and they will not go across the hall and do their brain exercises. They can't explain it. If I was to put them in jail, put a big old light right over their head and say, "Why do you do that?" They don't have any clue why they do that. And they're like, "Well, why did you put brain exercises into your program?" Because it's congruent with what we're trying to do, right? That's the cool thing about it. All of it fits together. The whole thing fits together, and I don't have to remember what exactly it is I said last time, because it's the only thing that I know, that it all fits together. But brain exercises is right there. Then we get into supplements, and I really think that's important for supplements. And some of the things that, like, one of the supplements I take every day is N-acetylcysteine. And N-acetylcysteine is a precursor to glutathione. And glutathione is the antioxidant that offsets the free radical, the reactive oxygen species that damage the mitochondria. That's where it kind of goes all together, right? So the supplements are important. And then on the backside, we basically have the same exact thing. And I'll see if I can figure out how to get it posted. If you want it, send me a message. Just send me a text, 806-794-0400. I'll take a picture of it. I'll send this to you, and you can have it. Send me a message on Facebook or whatever, and I'll send it to you. But it's the same stuff. Grass-fed beef, wild fish, free-range chickens, other wild animals, your bacon or your sausage. It's not the cleanest, but it will not spike your insulin. Okay? Eggs. Vegetables, they're all the same. It's like, eat your vegetables. Berries instead of fruits. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries instead of fruits, right? Nuts, walnuts, almonds, pistachios, macadamia, pecan, and then flax seeds or chia seeds, and then things like turmeric, sage, cilantro, cayenne pepper, oregano, paprika, thyme, onion powder, parsley, rosemary, chili powder, cinnamon, not cinnamon rolls, no, just cinnamon, right? Cumin and coriander. And so on your shopping list, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, almond butter instead of peanut butter, macadamia or walnut, canned full fat coconut milk, unsweetened almond milk. Like, the more I get away from sugar, the less I even am interested in almond milk. I don't have any milk at all, ever. Like, what almond milk substitutes for milk, and then after a while, it's like, I don't even need the almond milk. So maybe in the transition phase that you try, you just got to watch it, because you got to watch whether or not it's sweetened or it's not sweetened. You got to be careful about the almond milk, because you could get sweetened almond milk, and then now your blood sugar is going up. Apple cider vinegar, balsamic vinaigrette, low sodium vegetable chicken broth, Dijon mustard. You can eat all the mustard you want. There's no sugar in mustard. Sea salt and black pepper. Now, there is sugar in ketchup, and there is sugar in barbecue sauce, and so you got to watch out for those things. But in the mustard, there's not. And then the Keto 312 diet, that's what Dr. Bredesen talks about. And is in the End of Alzheimer's book. He talks about the Keto 312 diet. So try not to eat anything 3 hours before you go to bed, and then have your next meal 12 hours after you eat supper. So if you go to bed at 10, don't eat before 7. Don't eat anything after 7. And then from 7 till 7 a.m., obviously you're not going to eat anything, because you're going to go to sleep. And then if you're dealing with anything health related, see if you can push that 4 more hours. See if you can take 7 a.m. to 11. And now your window of eating is going to be from 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. That's when you're going to eat your food. That's the KetoFlex 312 diet that I got from Dr. Bredesen. And if you can only make it to 7, then that's fine. But if you can push it, then push it, because you'll get into autophagy and you'll clean up your brain. You'll clean up your brain. Your brain cleans itself up when your insulin is low. Your brain creates plaquing when your insulin is high. And it's like a little weed. There's a little protein or something that grows, and it either has 2 links or 3 links in it. I don't remember exactly, and it has to do with, you ever seen like a sunflower, how as the sun is going from east to west, which, I don't know, the earth rotated, right? But as the sun goes through the day, the sunflower follows it all the way across. Yeah. Well, that's what happens inside your brain. Your brain grows this little protein. I think it's a protein. And then that little protein waits to see if there's insulin. And if there's insulin, it grows one direction. And it grows longer. And if there's no insulin, it grows the other direction. And it grows shorter. And the longer ones get all tangled up and are called plaques. They're amyloid plaques and all that stuff. That's what Dr. Bredesen taught me. So the autophagy is the cleaning up of the brain that happens after you get into that fasted state, and that happens after you go past that 12 hours of not eating. So don't eat anything after 7, and then, which means you're already eating because it's 5 minutes till 7 right now, right? So, and then see if you can go right there. I want to read just a couple little things right here, because we're talking about sleep loss. I mean, we're talking about the immune system, right? But I want to come to Matthew Walker's book, Why We Sleep, and just read this real quick before we leave. But it says, sleep loss in the immune system. Recall the last time you had the flu. Miserable, wasn't it? Runny nose, achy bones, sore throats, heavy cough, a total lack of energy. You probably just wanted to curl up in bed and sleep. As well as you should. Your body is trying to sleep itself well. An intimate, a bidirectional association exists between your sleep and your immune system. And we might as well just start saying it. A relationship exists between sleep and inflammation. You could substitute the word and say it exists. Sleep fights against infection and sickness by deploying all manner of weaponry within your immune arsenal, cladding you with protection. When you do fall ill, the immune system actively stimulates the sleep system, demanding more bed rest to help reinforce the war effort. Of course, right? We know that. You get sick, you just want to go home and go to bed. So that's an important part. Here is exercise and the immune system. Okay? This is from John Rady's book, MD, Spark, right? It boosts the immune system. Stress and age depress the immune system response. And exercise strengthens it directly in 2 important ways. First, even moderate activity levels rally the immune system's antibody and lymphocytes, which you probably know as T cells. Antibodies attack bacterial and virus infection and have more T cells, and more T cell makes the body more alert to the development of conditions such as cancer. Population studies bear this out. The most consistent risk factor for cancer is lack of activity. Now, there's a balance there. It has a governor, like on an old truck or something, or a big truck. Exercise increases your immune system, and then it dampens your immune system. So this overactive chronic immune system problem doesn't happen if you get your exercise, moderate exercise. He goes on to say it. Those who are physically active, for instance, have a 50% lower chance of developing colon cancer. Okay, we just read at the beginning of the study how this drug inhibits this particular receptor that is active in macrophage and inflammatory diseases and cancer. So immune system and cancer. exercise and cancer, right? It's like tie those things together. Understand what you're doing there. Second, the part of the immune system's job is to activate cells that fix damaged tissue. When it's out of whack, these damaged spots fester and you're left with chronic inflammation. That's what I was talking about. Exercise will stimulate the immune system, clean up the body, and then dampen the chronic inflammation. And that chronic inflammation is what we talked about last night. That is the problem with all of our sickness. We just don't want chronic inflammation. So it's like we want to control our omega-6-3 ratio by controlling how many omega-6s we eat and by taking our fish oil. It's vital. And we want to make sure that we keep our blood sugar low because we know that high levels of blood sugar dampen our immune system. And then we can lean into it with confidence, as our book says, that we're doing the right thing and we're making ourselves healthier. And it doesn't matter where you are in life, if you just start doing these things, you can make yourself healthy. I hope you got something out of that. Thanks for watching the show. You guys have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday night with Taking Health to Church. If you need me, please let me know. Send me a message. If you want this copy of this diet plan, send me 806-794-0400 or send me a message on social media. You guys have a great night.